Africa 2016, Africa's top travel show, begins its three-day marathon today, the 7th, through to the 9th of May 2016. This is a platform that allows exhibitors to meet buyers and buyers to meet exhibitors throughout Africa and beyond.
Indaba has its place to rally us from the African community, but also brings buyers from all over the world to know Africa. If Africa wants to succeed, and last night at the Ministerial Forum, we all spoke about it, Africa needs to know Africa, and Africa needs to work with Africa. It is the only way that Africa can forget its past and move forward. When we move, we appreciate, we make friends, and tourism is the human contact between all of us. And I need to salute KwaZulu-Natal, here the embassy himself, because together with the Kingdom of Swaziland and Mozambique and the Seychelles, we have what we call the History Route program, where we take tourism to the grassroots level. We take tourism to its basis, and together we see how tourism can empower and put money in the pockets of our respective people. If we want the tourism industry never to have the saying, them and us, the big businesses and then the people, we need to look at the people of our respective countries. And there, MEC Mabuyakulu and us, the three other countries, we decided that it was important that at least these 4 countries in Africa to start off, maybe even grow one day, that we look at claiming back our tourism industry. Claiming back means that we are empowering our people to be more involved in the tourism industry of our respective countries. Have we made success? Yes. But rallying 4 governments looks easy, it is a challenge. And making it work is even more a challenge. But with determination, we seem to be making the right noise, and the right way forward is being achieved because there is tenacity in how we are actioning the plans to really get Africa to work with Africa. When I was invited by the NEC to join the 3 countries, I said, how do you mean you're working as Africa and you leave the islands out? So it is important to have Seychelles involved. So, but we decided not to change, as last night we were told, never change a brand. The brand was History Route. So we said, even if there is 4 of us now, we will keep History Route because it is the focus of what we are trying to achieve. But I think this morning I want to congratulate MEC Mabuyakulu. Minister, your leadership in that pact works. You rally us. You ensure that we see the need for us to continue to work together. But my appeal for delegates, and I know I've got some colleagues from different parts of Africa here present, if we really want Indaba to be a focus, where we all come to see in South Africa, not just as a source market, but as a rallying point every year, we need to be present. And last night at the Ministers' Forum, it was rather sad that there were some 8 of us out of 54 countries. And it is sad because we talk, we don't put our mouth where our money is, and this is always disappointing. And it must be disappointing for South Africa if year after year we send our technicians to come in and find it as a source market, but we don't appear as the person with the political will to really say, let us work together. You know, it is working together can save so much of the disasters we have. This morning when we were in the holding room, somebody was talking about the famous virus that hit Africa a couple of years ago. When it happened, the whole world started to look at Africa as one country. We had nothing to do with the epidemic because we sat in the middle of an ocean in Seychelles. But we started getting cancellations from China and from the Americas. And when groups started to cancel, I had to call in my technicians and say, okay, prepare me a map, show 54 countries, show the islands, and put the dimensions of the air route, how long it takes to get from that part of Africa to Seychelles. And I flew on to China and did a massive press conference with the Chinese minister. And fortunately, then the booking started coming back. The world forgets that we are 54 countries. But when we work together, and there's a problem with one of our countries, it is easier for us to send the right message. Today we are not sending it. In the History Route program, I hope we can do that, at least 4 countries, and we can do it jointly. But if Africa can work with Africa, we will get less of these disasters. Of course there will be problems. It is normal. There's no perfect world. Even though my name, Saint-Ange, it means that I'm a saint and an angel. I can see much more. But it is so important for us to be able to say, yes, you have a coup d'etat somewhere. Let us spell it out where it is and which part has a problem. It's not the whole of Africa who's suffering. Today, whenever there's a disease, a bad omen that has hit, the whole of Africa is condemned as one block. But we need to change this. And it is only by working together that we will change it.
The developments that have been taking place in the recent past. But as I say this, I also want to pay particular attention to my colleagues in the Eastern Route, as we've heard from the Honorable Alan Santaj, the Minister of Culture and Tourism from the Seychelles. Indeed, we have felt it is necessary for us to collaborate and to work together. And I must say that in the Eastern Route is no longer now KwaZulu-Natal alone. We have been joined by our sister province of Mpumalanga because of the fact that we share the same borders and boundaries with Swaziland and with Mozambique, and we have seen it appropriate that as 2 respective provinces in the Republic of South Africa, that we should also forge and work together with these sister countries with whom we share borders with. So from the point of view of the provincial government, it is important for me, therefore, to say to you once again, welcome to Indaba 2016. What is the purpose of our discussion? First and foremost, we are saying connecting Durban to the world. For us, the issue of air connectivity and how we are able to connect, to get ourselves to be connected to the world is one such critical thing as the province of KwaZulu-Natal, but also for the Republic of South Africa as a whole. We do want to increase numbers. And those who had an opportunity of participating in the African Minister session last night evening, they will tell you that the presentation that was made by Ambassador Omar clearly indicated where are the opportunities in the African continent. And indeed, without repeating verbatim what was said by Ambassador Omar, it is clear that there is a potential for us to be able to grow and so that we can be able to get connected. For us, being connected to the world as Durban is important. We have therefore embarked on a very aggressive route development out of Durban. And that approach of developing route development out of Durban has begun to pay dividends. As we speak, we can say that we are seeing an increase in passenger throughput that are coming through Durban. We are seeing an increase in cargo volumes through freight cargo that are coming through our province. And all around, we're also seeing an increase even in the domestic traveling in the country that's coming through the airport of Durban. And for us, it is exciting time, given of course that we all know where the world economy is. There is still very subdued interest globally. And for us as a province of KwaZulu-Natal, if we can push the boundaries for us to do more, we'll do so. The issue of investment and job creation for KwaZulu-Natal is important. And without getting into the details of this, it is important for me just to give you highlights that we've been able to attract more than 4.5 billion worth of investment in the last financial year as a province of KwaZulu-Natal, despite these very difficult economic times. And of course, the potential of this 4.5 billion worth of investment, it has the potential to create an estimated 11,000 direct jobs in the province. And we want to say this is possible because we have established an approach of working together with all our social partners. In this province, we've established an economic council. In this economic council, we have organized business, we have organized labor, we have organs of civil society, and we have got government both at provincial as well as local level. And we all sit together to talk about how can we ensure that once we think globally as a province, but we act locally. And for us, it's about finding our own niche. It's about doing things that we can do that can create employment in our province. And that is what we are doing in terms of investment attraction. But we also have actually been looking at the issues around what has been happening globally, at a global level. For me, as a gentleman, it is important that I should indicate to you that despite the very difficult times at a global level, we have seen in KwaZulu-Natal companies that have been quite interested in investing in the tourism sector in particular, and some of our strategic projects that we have put into the market. And I must say that the developments that have been taking place both here in Durban, in the Main, in Richards Bay, in the south, in Port Shepstone, in Hibiscus Coast, in inland, in Pietermaritzburg, it has been quite very exciting for us as a province of KwaZulu-Natal. So from a point of view as a province, we must say that we have just seen quite a huge success with regard to that. Let me deal with some of the catalytic developments that we have just seen in this province that relate to the drunkard's cabin car. We have actually spoken about this, and we have seen that the issue of the drunkard's cabin car is not just only about us as Canada. Our sister province of the Free State, we work so well because we see that there will be a lot of opportunities that will actually benefit the province of the Free State. Our sister province of the Eastern Cape, and I can see that my colleague, Makelo and Somyo, is now joining us, they will also benefit out of this. But also our neighbor, Lesotho. We are also in discussion with our neighbor, Lesotho, and the Honorable Minister, with regard to the issue of the cabin car and the work that Lesotho is doing on the side to ensure that they also benefit. And our own study has indicated that we can increase the tourist arrivals by another 100% to get another 300,000 visitors that can actually go and visit the area of the Drunken Square. And for us, it's about opening up this economy, not just for our own benefits as well as time, but also to share that with our neighbors. And we see therefore a need for us to collaborate and to work together with all of these neighbors, our sister provinces, but also with our sister country of Lesotho. So I'm raising these issues precisely because for us it is a project that we have taken and are going ahead. We'll be hosting the investment conference in the month of June around the cable car because we think this is a catalyst. And we see that it will actually open up investment opportunities to the region of between 7 to 8 billion rand, which will be the spin-offs that will come out of a 500 to 800 million investment on the cable car and the cableway. The issue of beach resorts and development in our province has become one of the most important ones that we are looking at. And indeed, it is one area where we have been quite pleased about initiatives such as what Thomas Village has been taking, looking at the issue of adding into the products that we have in this province. And one of those areas has been the issue around beach resorts. And Minister Alan Santai, you know that one of the things I always marvel when I visit Seychelles is that you are highly competitive around the issue of the beach resorts. And I've always said that if you can give us 2 or 3 of those investors to come and invest in Durban and KwaZulu-Natal, then we would have cemented our relationship in the true sense of the word. And then there is an issue around branding and alignment of experience. We are very clear as a province of KwaZulu-Natal that the issue of branding and alignment of experience is quite critical. And selling KZN as a standalone and a state put package, we have clearly identified that there is value in us partnering with others. There is value in us partnering with our sister provinces in what we call core competition. We do not necessarily believe in destructive competition, for we are a market destination in South Africa. First and foremost, we must attract people to South Africa, and all of us must do our bit. But also, we must say we believe in core competition because we should be cooperating and must be able to always identify a space for us to cooperate. And I say to my colleague, the embassies of Western Cape and Eastern Cape, that way back in 2007, we signed a memorandum of cooperation between the three respective provinces, which are coastal provinces. And may I say, colleague Jack, that we did not exclude you by any reason. And I'm sure if you come forward and you say, let us all be able to join hands together, we'll always be considerate. But what was our intention? Our intention is that we all have got the coastline, at least the three provinces. We should then be talking about how do we cooperate, use the maritime opportunities for promoting tourism. And we think it is possible that although it is known that the home of cruise liners is here, what is our interest and what can we do together to collaborate and grow this part of the market share? And indeed, we can't do this on our own as governments. We therefore have to work with private sector and industry players. And it is for this reason that for us in this province, in all our deliberations and our meetings, we ensure that industry plays a pivotal role in making their own contribution. For all of us, what we do as government is to support the industry efforts and for the industry to be able to grow. So the issue of packaging and selling us is not an issue where we want to go it alone. And that is why we're using the Eastern route, because when we pull together our resources and when we market ourselves together, I think we can get much more bigger results and returns out of that. That we have got some of the major events in this province. And I must say it's important because these events are events which we call them signature events. The Vodacom Durban July is one such signature event. The Congress Marathon is also another signature event that has been going since 1921. And I must say that these events, they attract huge numbers of people, both within and outside of our continent. And we are very happy as the province of KwaZulu-Natal and South Africa in general, that these events are going in leaps and bounds. The Druze-Caribbean Marathon is quite exciting. It started in 1951, it has been going on. It is sometimes difficult to sustain these events for too long. As well as the Big Mamai, it's part of these events that we can actually classify among some of the so-called signature events that takes place here in the southern part of Africa. Then there's an issue around adventure. Now I'm raising adventure because for us adventure is quite crucial. It is also one of the reasons why the Eastern route was actually established, because the name Eastern route itself is an acronym which represents exchange, adventure, amongst other things. So we are saying to people, when you take Sunny Pass, for instance, which is known as the roof of Africa, between ourselves and the Kingdom of Lesotho, we can do more in positioning that as part of the adventure tourism. And we are looking towards being able to put together marketing abilities between both South African industries, but also between the marketing agencies in ourselves, in KwaZulu-Natal, but also in Lesotho. So we think these can actually go quite a long way. On the southern part of our province, we've got Olive Gorge, which is quite exciting. There is the White Swing, which is one of the most popular big bungee swings in South Africa and the highest in the world. How many of us in this room have ever been to the Olive Gorge? And indeed, we want to actually market that. And for us as KwaZulu-Natal, it is these kinds of offerings that we have in the province. Of course, we talk about heritage. In any country, heritage is a new gold. And for us in KwaZulu-Natal, heritage is our gold. Why do we say so? We say so because if you talk about our game parks, the total capital value of our game parks in this province, they are worth about 150 billion. The that is how big they are. And I can safely say that at some point we have got the higher value capital assets, the natural assets, even more than the sun parks when it comes to the area of the game parks. So for that reason, we have Kruger Game Park, and for us, it is the oldest, and that has been there for many, many years. Our Mandela voting site, which is a place that changed the history of South Africa, just here in Inanda. And how many people would actually not forget what happened on the 27th of April 1994, which ushered in South Africa's democracy. But we also have got the wilderness sites in Mukataba province, as well as Sunamali's Park. These are some of South Africa's most important assets, but we also share these assets with the rest of the world. And it's important to say, when we meet like this, we are able to also indicate that as KwaZulu-Natal, we really think, when we talk about connecting Durban and KwaZulu-Natal with the rest of the world, we say so because we think we can be able to increase the contribution of South Africa's, in terms of South Africa's tourism, is actually making a significant contribution in South Africa to gross domestic output. And for that reason, ladies and gentlemen, as KwaZulu-Natal, we are positioning ourselves not solely as a province, but within South Africa, within the context of the region where we are, but also accepting that we're also part of this thriving continent. And what we therefore are saying this morning, to echo the words of my colleague, the Honourable Minister of Seychelles, Alan Santaj, we see more success when all of us work together, collaborate when we need to collaborate, but able to compete, particularly in the domestic market. It is right, my colleagues and MECs, that we should all of us be able to have activations in each and every one's province, because we must all of us be increasing the domestic revenue that is generated out of tourism. And during these difficult times, when disposable income may be much more tighter, it is important that we should be able to build a very strong and vibrant domestic tourism market. And for that reason, I think there is space for us to do so. I even say the same to my mayors, district mayors in the Western province, that they too should be able to have core competition, but they must also be able to have a competition with the domestic tourism in KwaZulu-Natal, which is intra and inter. And it is important that we should be able to grow this industry. And I must say, despite the very difficult times, tourism is a resilient sector of the economy. And I have no doubt, ladies and gentlemen, that once again, we will have a wonderful indaba here. And indeed, we'll have more than 1,000 exhibitors here, more than 1,600 buyers. And that tells you about the strategic importance of this trade show. Thank you very much, ladies.
You're sitting next to me. The head of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa, Matsatsi Ramawala. Could you please come up here and join me? You're sitting next. Gillian Saunders from Grant Thornton, who's going to keep us honest throughout the proceedings. You're sitting over here. Don't look so worried, all of you. We haven't even started yet today, I'm worried. And last but not least, the Minister. Minister Abercorn, please come up and join us. So, in your speech, Minister, you're going to start us off. In your speech just then, you described the tourism numbers as spectacular, the improvement. And I don't think anybody would disagree. Well, perhaps you'll disagree with it in a minute, Gillian. But let's be honest, Minister. A lot of the improvement this year is only repairing the damage of having shot yourself in the foot in previous years. Would you agree?
You have a way of putting things, Richard, but there were particular challenges last year. It's not only about us shooting ourselves in the foot. We didn't create Ebola. Ebola was probably the biggest single factor negatively impacting on tourist arrivals in South Africa, especially affecting some markets. So there were a range of factors that resulted in an overall decline in 2015, but the pickup that we're seeing now is nothing short of spectacular. 15%, over 15% in January, and 18% in February compared to February last year. That's spectacular and rapid recovery from having declined last year. So it's by the way, it's not just about comparing what it promises to be a good year with a bad year, but it's also about actual numbers. For the first time, we had over 1 million tourists arrive in South Africa in January, which is huge.
Julian.
Well, Richard, I guess I was going to say what you were saying. If you take our numbers from 2014 to the 2016, the first 2 months, which is spectacular growth, but the actual average for those 2 months over the 2 years is about 3% per annum, okay? Not enough. We should be growing. If the World Tourism Organization says worldwide growth in arrivals is around 4%, growth in arrivals to Africa is around 4%, we shouldn't be below it. So we did shoot ourselves in the foot. We had Ebola as well. We had the birth certificate and the visa crisis last year. And, you know, we probably got partially rescued, or significantly rescued by a weak rand, which came from us shooting ourselves in the foot, but did help with the weak rand.
How far, Gillian, do you think the rand benefits? And where does that weaker rand benefit? Is it on the intra-African, or is it on the long haul, more higher spend?
It's predominantly on the long-haul, more higher spend markets because it's significantly cheaper. And the other benefit is, even if they make that choice to come to South Africa, when they get here, they spend more. So the spend per day goes shooting up because everything's so cheap and so reasonable for them when they're here. It's a fantastic benefit. But I've got my colleagues here, and we've tried any which way but loose to try and correlate around the exchange rate and tourism arrivals, and it's just virtually impossible because there's too many other factors impacting.
So,
and there's no doubt, in the trade, everybody knows that this is helping a lot.
Right, but of course, the weaker rand is a harbinger of other problems, isn't it, in the South African economy, which your members are feeling the effect of.
Absolutely. I think, Richard, with the weakness of the rand, it's always it's double-edged sword. On the one end of it, it's benefiting us from an inbound tourism point of view. It helps us to recover, which is what the Minister was saying and what Julian was supporting. But also, from an investment point of view, it's a little bit of a tricky one, especially when you're looking to increase your capacity at different parts of the industry. We import a lot of our parts in this country. So if you're buying a coach, if you're buying cars, and you are into the airline business, the rand is a little tricky for you when you hit these levels.
Net, which would your members prefer?
Oh, of course, the weakness of the rand, because we get inbound tourists, we want people to come in, and when people come in, the whole economy benefits. And that's the important thing at the end of the day.
Deputy Minister, when we look at the industry, what for you is the outstanding point at the moment?
At the moment, we, as was indicated earlier on, is that with the numbers that are coming in now, it's giving us an opportunity to look into how we can enhance on it and also sustain what is happening. And that gives us an opportunity to really sit and strategize and really make sure, because we also made great lessons from the 2010 FIFA World Cup hosting as a country, to say, how is it that we can sustain what is happening? So we're working very closely with the industry.
So lessons were learned from the 2010 World Cup, you're saying?
Yes.
Minister, what a shame that there may be no more sporting events. All right, so your deputy gave me the weapon with which I Okay, let's get right, but this is really what people want to know. Don't you? Firstly, Minister, were you consulted about this decision to ban the bidding for sporting events? No. Should he have been consulted? Of course. How damaging is this decision?
Well, I'm hoping we'll be able to modify, mediate, remedial steps and change the decision. This is damaging. But it's not damaging flourishing right now in our markets, but it is a beautiful opportunity to bring mega events here. I'm making funny noises.
Just put the microphone a little bit away from your mouth. Here, let me have that.
Okay. It's being lost because the Deputy Minister is exactly right. And if you ask me what is the one single biggest thing, is that I think we are slowly changing our image on the international stage. The 2010 helps us. We are much more...
Never mind 2010, that's 6 years ago.
Yeah, but the repercussions are still there in terms of people's understanding of the destination.
But Richard, wait, hang on, wait. You asked me the question. You said, should we have been consulted? I said, of course you should have been. But you know, we released a statement as a TBC said. We said, while we express concern, and I underline the way we expressing concern, and we express that concern from a point of view of perception, because this never just been for a year. So the minister says it's going to be reviewed at next year. And so we say, fine, in the short term, it's not really such a thing.
I read your statement.
Did you?
I did. And you wanted to have your argument both ways. You not only tried to convince that you were against this decision, but you then said it's the minister's prerogative and you can understand the reasons why he did it. You wanted it both ways.
No, we talked about it and we tried to be fair. Because the issue...
How can you be fair?
Transformation retail is an issue we need to address as an industry, and we've been talking with our Minister of Tourism, saying that it is not easy to address transformation retail. As you know, you talked about it with Kenya, one time on your show, I want to show every night. And so,
I'm talking about my program. We'll let you off this one. Minister, the issue is, and I know this is difficult for you, the issue is that one of your colleagues took a decision on policy grounds that could have a detrimental effect on the economy of tourism.
Yeah. Look, I mean, tourism, as you know, Richard, it interfaces with many other departments. Decisions taken elsewhere by ministers of transport, ministers of home affairs or immigration, ministers of sport, arts and culture could impact on positively or negatively on tourism. So the process of engaging with fellow ministers, with colleagues, is not going well. I would support the Minister of Sport very strongly in saying that we have to tackle this issue of transformation and support, greater representativity in our teams. He's right, that's his job. And he is trying to do his job, trying to promote a South African sport and the various sporting codes that we can truly be proud of and truly every South African can say, yes, they represent us. The question, of course, which I do believe that requires that discussion is, in the event that they have failed to meet their targets, what's the best response to that? Our job is to promote tourism. So our job will be to interact with other ministers to say, but Minister, let's consider the impact or the possible negative impact of not proceeding with our bids for these mega events.
You see, you put your finger on really what the point is, because we're not discussing here the issue of transformation in sport or the process. What I'm questioning, Gillian, is the process of making government policy that allows this sort of decision to be taken, either without consultation, Gillian, or without full ramifications of the economic issues.
Let me just jump in before, but there's no final decision here. There's no final decision here. Gillian, go ahead.
But Minister, touch on it. Tourism is multifaceted across many ministries. And unless the people in all the other ministries, first of all, I call it you have to have it joined up. You don't have joined up government with respect to tourism. You don't have an understanding of tourism, and you don't have the understanding of what you can do in terms of priority. We have these, and these are the ministers of another one, where different departments take decisions that have huge impacts on tourism without fully understanding why and that it has an impact or talking to anybody in our industry. So while we talk about priority for tourism, it gets into the service speech, it gets into the budget speech, I don't really think the priority is there.
Right, and that's what we're going to talk about as we move through our discussion here. The sports issue, the sports issue wouldn't be so serious if it wasn't a repeat of the visa debacle followed on by the birth certificate calamity. Now, individual policies, understandably for good reasons, but with terrible economic impact on tourism.
Absolutely. This is why, Richard, we're saying that the consultation is very important. We have to be partners in this. Because tourism touches every facet of And so within government, with all the different arms of government, there has to be that understanding that when things have to be done and policies have to be done, at least do the consultation. Let us all know, first of all, what is coming. Secondly, allow us to make some input that may have a different outcome. Because we can then be partners in terms of solving the problem. And you said it. That's what happened with the visas. We cried about it. And here is something that just happened again. But one of the good news that we are looking for that to happen is that Cabinet passed on a resolution that says every law or bill that is going to come up has to be subject to an economic impact study. When they've done the impact, we will then be concerned amongst others. So we can take up input and people can see what they're trying to do. Will it be solved whatever it is they're trying to offer as a problem?
Minister, let's give you a chance to discuss, to robustly defend the government's handling, if it is possible, on these issues.
Well, I mean, you're limiting me to issues. Let me tell you another story. I mean, I said that Ebola had a very serious negative impact on tourism arrivals. And the good news story, which you're not highlighting, is the fact that we didn't have a single Ebola case in South Africa. Not one. And so that's a good news story. The challenging stories are obviously when we introduced with good intention visa regulations or immigration regulations, which did impose onerous requirements on people traveling to South Africa. So that happened with good intent, because combating child trafficking internationally is a good intent. Securing your country's borders, every country wants to do that. The question is, how do you do that? The good news is that there was a receptiveness to engaging with the counterpart minister, and we came to good decisions as a result of that. And so largely the visa challenges are behind us. Not entirely, but largely. And so there's a good news story there.
Okay. We shot ourselves in the foot and now we put a battle. All right, I can live with that. So let me put it another way then. Let's be a little optimistic, shall we? Has government learned from the fiasco?
I think we're in a constant learning process, and we kind of pride ourselves on it. We don't have all of the magic answers to the problems of our country, and the problems are huge.
No, I mean about making policy in one area that clearly has a detrimental effect in another.
You asked me if we've learned from it.
Yes.
My answer is that we're in a constant learning process. We have learned from it. And one of the learnings from this, the visa issue, is that, don't proceed, whatever department you're in, don't proceed with measures with however good your intentions might be. Don't proceed without careful consultation with affected departments or affected ministries, however good your intentions. And that's a kind of a lesson. Let's talk to each other so that we march forward together.
But Richard, can I also just say this? I think, one of the things we need to do as an industry, this is both at a local and a global level, that we haven't done a great job over the years to really reach out or educate the public and governments in particular about our business. And last night I was fortunate to attend a session where I attended. Who hasn't? Not us as an industry. That's a global issue. So that's South African, unique South African problem. Globally, if you ask people globally, what is the contribution of tourism, what is the role in terms of economies, we all say all sorts of different stories. So it is also like even kind of RFI at UNWTO and the discuss if you ask them, that is the recognition. So we need to work as an industry to educate and start speaking the language of government so they understand our business so they can support us better.
I still think we've got a long way to go. So, and Sassy's right, they don't understand the industry, but I think it's not a willingness to understand it necessarily. I may be wrong on this, but this is something I learned once sitting in the Ponder piece somewhere working with a black community, that the word for tourist in that community was white person from a long way away who spends a lot of money. Now that's the wrong image of tourism straight away. There's a lot of images of tourism that are, I don't think, positive as an elitist, developed world activity, and therefore there's a bit of closing one's mind. The same way as people in our government may close their mind to capitalism, I just say. So there's a bit of closing their mind to tourism, and as much as we tell them and educate them, they don't get the message. And what we're talking about, the problem we've got here, is not just at national government. So maybe national government has started the slow learning process there. I mean, they're learning. But it replicates a provincial government across all the departments, and it replicates at municipalities everywhere, where tourism happens on the ground of municipalities. People don't understand it.
So this is something I really want to get into, because you've raised the point that I have been banging on about for the 20 years I've been covering it. which is basically that tourism doesn't punch its weight. It doesn't punch its weight necessarily in cabinet, it doesn't punch its weight in industry. It's, as you say, it's thought of as people arriving on planes from foreign places, but as an economic, would you agree, Deputy Minister, that as an economic force, too many people in government and business do not appreciate the importance of tourism? Would you agree?
I would agree, and because since 2009, when our department became a standalone department focusing on tourism, we put every effort to ensure that we place tourism at the center. That is a process that continues. But also coming, just to say, with the learnings from the visa issues, government had to come to the center to respond. Because issues were coming from all over the industry and other related departments. So that in itself gradually continues to make us to take the center stage and bring government to take decisions that would also help us move forward. So coming to the issue of sport and the ban, I must say those bids that we already have, we're still going to host Commonwealth Games in 2022. Bids that have been there continue. They will be staged in South Africa, but those bodies need to transform. That's what we are saying as a nation, so that there is inclusivity in terms of economic growth, there's sustainability in what we're doing. So in the process moving forward, they must...
Are you sure you want to go down this way?
They must respond to it. It is not anything, there's no new policy about it, it is something that has been there, but it's actioning it, that industry and everybody is going to get in should there be a bid that is upcoming.
But surely you would agree that the sports minister should at least have consulted with the tourism minister about the potential effect that it might have had.
Well, for instance, from the fact that we have the South African conventions, don't know of any bid that was coming immediately, but we agree that he needs to consult.
He didn't!
But the policy has been there, it's not a new policy.
So you are agreeing with the idea of using economic force that might damage an industry for the transformation policy?
I am convinced it will not damage, but it has to be considered so that everybody understands.
Oh, Minister, South African Airways. I know it's not your responsibility. I'm reminded, I think it was Oscar Wilde, to lose one handbag is or to lose one, no, what was it? To lose one is unfortunate, to lose two is careless. How many CEOs do you think the airline has had in the last 3 or 4 years? Do you know?
Well, since you've clearly done your research, why don't you tell us?
7. I do not know of any airline anywhere in the world that has had 7 CEOs in the space of 3 or 4 years. What message is that sending?
Yeah, I'm not going to respond to the CEO message. What we have is a national carrier, and what we have at the moment is an interministerial committee recognizing that it might be the responsibility of another minister. I serve on that interministerial committee. It's doing it the right way, to look at how we can rescue and do the best to make this national carrier of ours more profitable, more efficient, that could do us proud. I've got many thoughts on the role of national carriers, by the way, but we'll get there, maybe. But the truth of the matter is that SAA has to go through certain changes, and that there's a collective responsibility of a team of ministers to ensure that those changes happen. So clearly, I mean, stability in leadership is very important. Having a good board that guides the work of the entity is very important. But we are addressing these issues. We know that there are problems, that there have been many problems with SAA, but we're not trying to sweep them under the carpet. We're addressing these problems.
Well, just as well you're not, otherwise the carpet will be near the ceiling. I mean, Julia, yesterday the president said...
We'll never sell it.
Sorry?
Yeah, he's not going to sell SAA.
He said he visited SAA and he played to the public when he said he's not going to sell SAA, which is fine. That's a policy decision at the highest levels of government. But then he went on to say that it shouldn't have cut roots, it should be expanding. Do you suggest, or I'm suggesting, and I'm asking you, do you agree, that SAA has become a political football and that needs to stop?
Sadly, I think it probably is subject to a lot of political pressures in different ways. And the fact that it has 7 CEOs or however many CEOs and all of those other things and the governance challenges, a lot of our state-owned enterprises have those. So we just should be able to fix them and allow them to have the right governance and the right management and run well. But in terms of what we do with SAA, I would probably get some of my industry colleagues will shoot me for this, but I do believe, given where we are on the tip of the continent, in the south sort of area, that having a national carrier might be the right way to go. But then you give the national carrier the right policy framework, that it serves the economy of the country through tourism and trade, and it does the routes that we need. Because if we've done that and accepted the losses, because we made losses for us years and years, but if it had made losses serving us correctly on the routes we need, I wouldn't mind. Okay? So I think a national carrier, well run, in the right policy framework, where it is directed, and it is allowed to make losses potentially, but is supporting what we need to grow our country, can work. So I'm not necessarily going to sell it.
You're nodding, Minister.
Yeah. Because I think that's why I said, it's recognizing the value of having a national carrier. It's not in the same. We are here to promote the interests and what is best for tourism. We don't really mind how people come to South Africa, as long as they come. As long as there are routes available, it doesn't really matter to us who is the airline. But the advantage of having a national carrier, I think, is what Julian was trying to say, is that you can make strategic decisions about your national carrier, and profitability of a route is not the only consideration.
All catchment, but hugely successful, as opposed to a major country with 1,000 kilometres and tens of millions of people. But the Dubai example is useful because everybody who's a stakeholder in every industry sits and talks to everybody else with a common purpose. Now, Minister, what are the challenges of doing something like that to create a more seamless environment for the private and public sector?
There are no challenges. We're doing it. And we're doing it extremely intensively, as Majali will attest to. And many CEOs who are sitting here will attest to as well. We probably, the year of 2015, with a bit of adversity and challenge, really brought us together to say, how do we get our way, work our way out of this together? Right now, as we speak, we've got a range of working groups to say, how do we market our country better? How do we improve our destination? How do we affect transformation in our own industry in a positive way? We've got a number of working groups, government and industry, working together to find answers to these questions. We are working really well together. It's not a challenge. People make it a challenge. If you want to work well with your social partners and with your industry partners, you can. It's not difficult.
You were talking to me yesterday, Minister, about the role of the small and medium-sized enterprises. Do they feel involved? Could you do more to make smaller businesses feel that they have which they do have an important contribution, how to get them more involved?
Yes, indeed, they have a very big role to play if we talk sustainability of the economy, if we talk inclusivity within the economy, which is what all of us in government are tasked to make sure whatever we are doing meets such criteria. But just a small diversion to say, whilst in tourism we have followed this trend very well of integrating all our efforts working with stakeholders, it's not yet happening now across governments, because tourism cuts across various sectors. So you find different departments doing it as different departments. So at times that's where we have limitation. But coming to SMME in the industry, we are putting a lot of investment into it because we believe it is the road to go to ensure that we can have SMEs coming in because they are able to create the much needed jobs. We are investing in skills development. And the indaba 2016 this year, we championing that presence of SMEs that have been taken through various steps up to a stage where now they can face the market, they can face the world, they can really ensure that they interact with big business, because that is what can carry them moving forward so that they are in the space where everybody plays.
Let's take a question. Let's have the lights up, if we may. Let's have some light in the room. Let there be light. There's a biblical parallel for that. Right, just a little question for the state of travel. Oh, we're off to the races early. Who are you, sir? Where are you from?
My name is Abba Omar. I'm from the Mapungubwe Institute, and I'm a board member of South Africa Tourism.
Oh, you're a board member? You've got a board member of South African Tourism, yeah? Are you going to make a speech or are you going to ask a question?
I can make a speech if you want, but I prefer asking a question.
Hang on a second. Hang on. Isn't it a bit weird that a board member of the tourism industry asks a question of the minister or the panel? You sure? You're responsible for tourism. Oh boy, this is going to be good. All right, don't let me stop you.
I hope I heard this point. No, I think my question is largely the minister referred to the presence of a number of ministers from the African continent here. And at this stage, we're still having a challenge branding the continent. What can be done about it?
Tell me first of all, before I ask the panel, why do you need to brand the continent?
And the continent as a whole, there's often the image of the hopeless continent, and then you've got the image of rising Africa, and so forth. And there's an inconsistency where people, when you have the outbreak of Ebola, for example, there's immediately a number of negative sentiments that kick in. So,
Julia, branding the continent.
I don't think we should be trying to brand the continent. The continent is 53 or 48 or whatever countries, and they've got that we have to get away and disaggregate Africa. But the gentleman is right in terms of we get the rub off of all the negativity that does associate itself with Africa. That is part of what we need to do in our messaging, part of what we need to do in our PR campaigns. We need to, and there's some great stuff that came out that showed you the radius of Ebola, and the countries in Europe are much closer to where Ebola was happening than we were in South Africa. But you know, you've got to be proactive in doing those things to educate the marketplace. But branding Africa is the wrong way to do it, that's all I would say. But it's a comment that's
Okay, branding Africa, Minister. We're going to come on to the relationship between the various countries and how you can work more cooperatively. So that's not what I'm talking about at the moment. We're talking about, in the same way as, say, for example, Brand USA would brand the entire United States, even though individual states have their own marketing and tourism laws. Do you favour a pan-African brand?
What I do favour is for us to the African states that make up the African continent, that we all brand ourselves as countries and brand ourselves well, and that we back that up with give it credibility by doing things well. So that's the branding of Africa becomes the collective branding of the individual countries that make up Africa. What we do need to do...
I don't understand.
Okay. I go out there, I'm Uganda, I sell Uganda, I brand Uganda, I do the right things in Uganda to promote tourism, and it projects positively on the African perception. So what we do individually forges and shapes the perception of Africa as a continent, and the kind of image of Africa as a continent. What I do think we have to do, and it's very important that we do it precisely because of what Julian said, the tendency to lump countries in Africa together as if Africa was one big country, which is not the case in Asia, not the case in Europe, but tends to be very much the case in Africa. So, tackle the misconceptions, the perceptions about Africa, the African continent, change the perception. One of the best ways of doing that is by bringing people here.
To change that perception,
Yes.
I mean, it's chicken and egg. Bringing people here will help change it, but you'll only bring people here if perhaps you change the perception. But does that require a coordinated Pan-African response?
It helps if there's a coordinated African response. It helps, and we were certainly moving in that direction with some of our African ministers taking the lead in that. If we have an African Forum of Ministers of Tourism, we're moving in that direction. And then the African Ministers of Tourism can say, what are the things that we have to do together to promote tourism on the African continent, and how can we project a more positive image of the African continent? So yes, we need to come to certain agreements and not speak the same language, because we're not the same countries, but have some common features in whatever we say.
Is this something you would lead on? Would you take the lead?
Humble fellow that I am.
Well, I'm not inviting you, so I'm asking you to think about it.
I would certainly assist in giving lead to this if asked to give lead to this. I've got my colleagues over
Oh,
here.
it's a yes, Minister answer. If asked, I will serve.
I'm not going to impose myself on my very esteemed fellow ministers here.
Give me a microphone. Which minister have we got? Minister from Seychelles. Minister, you don't mind me asking into the mic. Thank you. He's here, he's come all this way. Minister, what do you think? Does there need to be some Pan-African marketing, some Pan-African response?
When we are numbered with all the negatives, because we are part of one continent of 54 states, we must find a way for us to also get the positives out of it. I really believe that we need to work more together. We need to work more together so that the strength of one becomes the strength of the continent.
How do you do that?
By working together.
What does that mean?
Well, for us to find one way that... Last night we heard all about Great Britain and how Great Britain has a brand. We know about brand America today, brand USA. But if we had Mighty Africa with all its assets put in one basket and said, this is Mighty Africa, would that not be a way for the world to realize that in that diversity of Africa, there is cohesion, and that there are good things happening, not just Ebola, or a coup d'etat, or a war, but that we have good things.
Who leads?
South Africa will be an island, that's what I like.
Just in case. I'm just speaking hypothetically here. Could you see a scenario where you invite all the other African tourism ministers to this country for a meeting to discuss such a scenario? And just a scenario, a possibility.
No, it's not the way it will go, because we have the United Nations World Tourism Organization.
Oh, please,
And
wait for that.
we have an African component of it. And there is an elected leader of that, and that is the Minister of Tourism from Zimbabwe, Minister Mzembe. So he is currently in that position, that's his role. And I know him very well, I work very closely with him to help him fulfill that role. We also have an African Union. If the decision is taken that there will be a forum of ministers on the African continent, it will be in Addis. And there will be, it's not for us, South Africa, to take that kind of lead. It is for South Africa to help strengthen it and give it content, and we will not shy away from that role.
It can hardly be described as a thrusting organisation that pushes forward an agenda, is it? I think you'd have to agree.
Depends what agenda you think is pushing. I think proactive implementation of things not. Great on research and policy and frameworks and what we should be doing.
Richard, I think, I like what Killian said and what the minister said. I think, I think the whole issue of can we brand Africa as well. I think, personally, I just don't believe that you should be part of the pressure of wanting to. Africa is a huge continent, Richard. We are individual countries with our own individual attributes and things like that. I think the important thing, Richard, is It's about the messaging. We have a responsibility to educate the world about Africa. You know, what is this Africa that we're talking about? And therefore, for people to understand that we are different nations. And you know, and whatever comes out here, we shouldn't be lumped. Because that's why, I mean, we don't see Europe as one country. You know, all of us have been, Europe has gone out of its way to educate the rest of the world that there is Portugal, the Spain. You know, we should not allow the world to do that to Africa. And I think they've done that for a long time, Richard. So I think you having entering into contact with us and to educate the world about Africa, because I think it's actually unfair.
It actually took somebody 50 minutes to accuse the media.
Richard Quest, no, Richard Quest. I'm saying Richard Quest, you're a powerful person, very influential. I think we need African partners. Partners that can help to get the message of Africa out. We are not one country. We are different nations.
Question.
I'm Graham Boyce, I'm from Newsweek, and my question, I'd like to return the subject to South Africa. One of the biggest, probably the worst perception, and probably one of the big barriers to tourism growth in this country is crime. If you talk to tour operators in the US and in Europe, there is a public perception that this is a dangerous country to visit. What do you say about that?
Public perception of crime. Deputy Minister, let's start with you on that. Whether true or not, the gentleman says public perception of crime.
You see, when we talk tourism, perceptions are often what drives whether you go to this particular country or not. There's no country without crime in the first place, but South Africa is prioritizing to ensure that this is a safe destination for every traveler who comes into the country, and we vouch for that.
Are you saying that's a misperception?
Are you saying it's a misperception?
It is blown out because you would have incidents. But if you zoom into how we deal with it and the fact that tourism now is considered and prioritized, even when we talk our crime prevention strategy, we prioritize incidents that are relating to tourism.
I have to say, whenever I say to my friends in the States where I live, I'm in New York, I'm going to South Africa, there's a sharp intake of breath, usually followed with, oh, I do hope you'll be safe.
I think that's true, Richard. There is that perception out there that South Africa is a dangerous place to visit. And I think, you know, we need to work harder as a country to communicate the safety precaution, the fact that the land that government goes through, the land that we as a private sector are going through. We have our own initiative called the Tourism Safety Initiative that we're working together with government to make sure that we communicate those messages. But in the end, we take that, it's about the messaging. That we must
well, hang on. I say, is it the messaging or is it the reality?
No, there's an element of reality to me, Richard, but I'm saying at the end of the day, I think the messaging is going to be important so that when incidents of crime, when it's not hyped out, when something happens, we must respond very quickly. Sometimes we're not able to respond very quickly, but when we respond with almost like making the situation harder, like do not do this, do not this. So we need to work at how we say some of these things.
So, fact, we have a high crime rate. We definitely do. Fact also that the perceptions overseas are probably being even worse than it is. Okay? So they could be better. We have to work a little better. What actually happens if you look at our tourists, 50% of our tourists, more or less, have been here before. So once they come, they work out they can be safe as tourists, because our crime rate against tourists is not that high. It's not higher than many other countries like Thailand and Greece, or Mexico or whatever. We don't have a high crime rate against tourists. We have a way of dealing with our tourists so they can travel and enjoy the country safely. So that's why they come again and again and again. But we need to get to the millions who are still sitting somewhere saying it's too unsafe to go to South Africa. And changing the message there is a challenge. It's still a challenge.
That's why the messaging is important. We need
Message is very
and respond quickly. Our crisis management system has to be in place. Because we really respond quickly.
I agree.
I'm over here. And you, sir, who are you?
My name is Ali. I'm from Nigeria.
Yes.
I just want to sort of take us back to what we discussed before. It's important that the minister understands the fact that, like, the decision of the sports minister affected tourism in South Africa. Yes, we have different countries in Africa. The decisions taken by other countries in Africa will naturally have impact. And so I know that you usually will have meetings with other ministers from all the African
Is there a question here?
Yes, it's a question.
Please get to it.
Okay, good. Right. Now, what I'm saying is, I think it's important that that should be taken very seriously. So I'm asking the minister, do you think it's important to ensure that you communicate regularly with other ministers to ensure that whatever offerings you're having here is not affected by what is done in other countries?
I'm going to answer for him, if I may, Minister, because I think you've answered the question earlier on. I assume the answer is yes. He's done that one already, but thank you. Yes, another question, yeah. Who are you? Welcome.
Hi, good morning. I'm David Thompson. I'm a freelance travel journalist, time Richard. And I'm involved with the most amazing group of women who are setting up something that we haven't even touched on here today, is wildlife. And that is what brings the majority of tourists to Africa, I would say. We've got a group of women who are leaving on Women's Day on the 9th of August, and they're going to be traveling through Africa, bringing awareness to the plight of the elephant. One elephant is killed every 15 minutes in Africa. And I think this is something that the majority of journalists here today need to find out more about, because this is what we should be doing. We should be saving the wildlife in this continent.
On this question of wildlife, and I allowed you to finish your statement, even though there wasn't a question at the end of it, because many times that I've been here, Minister, and I've been, we've made honour to come here and do this, I sometimes think what I used to describe as Leo the Lion. South African tourism sometimes shies away from Leo the Lion, from the wildlife. You know it's an important part of the tourism industry, but do you give it enough marketing in the way in which you're trying to spread the wealth now? Do you think you're underplaying wildlife?
Oh, we should never underplay it. I'm probably faced with a different kind of criticism more often, and that is that we're overplaying it, and that we're not sufficiently emphasizing the other parts that we have to offer. And I think, because we've got great wildlife offerings in many of our sister countries, we do too, and slightly different for that matter. But I think our big strength in South Africa is wildlife plus many, many other things. So it's not that we don't want to sell wildlife, but we also want to speak about the magnificent diversity of offer that we have. Let me just say something about wildlife. South Africa's conservation record is really very, very good. We've seen elephant numbers increase. We've even seen, until quite recently, the only country that significantly increased its rhino numbers. In the last little period, we've seen a dwindling of rhinos, but we've brought that to a halt as well. So anti-poaching measures, critically important. Protecting that, South Africa will always be known for a few things, and wildlife and safaris will always be prominent.
Question, I'll come to the person over here who's got a question in just 1 second. I want to ask you directly, Minister.
Yeah.
You gave a speech to the first meeting of the International Gay and Lesbian Tourist Association, which I believe was in Cape Town, correct?
Yes.
It was a very moving speech, which I read. You made this speech at the time when many other African countries have directly anti-gay and lesbian transgender policies and laws. What needs to change here, Minister?
Well, we in South Africa cannot speak for policies of other countries, whether they're African countries or Asian or American countries. What we can talk about is ourselves. And in the same vein as your question about crime, we have to work together to diminish crime in our country, that's a given. But when it comes to the measures that we've introduced to recognize gender equality, to give expression to sexual preference, etc., we have to showcase that and speak about it with pride. We are proud of it. And that brings us to tourism, by the way. You know, you've got not only different markets that you want to target, but you've got niche audiences. And I believe that is something that we can just proclaim with some kind of pride. You come to South Africa and you can have a very, very friendly experience and a good and welcoming experience, and you don't have to hide the fact that as a man you have a man partner or as a woman you have a woman partner. There's nothing, and that's something good about South Africa. There's high level of tolerance and acceptance of, religious acceptance, sexual orientation, cultural, religious, language. That is what makes our country a fabulous country.
More than 1,200 exhibitors have arrived all around Africa and abroad, all in order to contribute to the growth and the economy of South Africa and Africa as a whole. Cassia Kulu, Tell the Journalist, Durban.